Find the vertex in the axis of the graph of a function, then rewrite the equation in the vertex form. All right, so this is a good one. We've got 27, and they give us f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 5x minus 4. When they say write it in the vertex form, that's what I just showed you on the previous problem, was what the vertex form was. So at some point in time, I need to make this look something like this. F of x is equal to ax squared, oops, wrote it down wrong. A times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. That's what I need to make it look like. Well, h and k is the vertex. Now, to solve this algebraically is kind of challenging. In other words, I could factor out the x and do some manipulations and do completing the square, all that stuff. Or I could possibly, and I want you guys to tell me what page this is on, it's in your book, but I could also find the x-coordinate of the axis of symmetry by some formula. Does anybody remember what that formula is? It has to do with A and B and C. It's on one of the pages. Why don't you guys look that up? No.
What's the question?
How do we find that axis of symmetry?
I found axis standard quadratic.
Very good. So now I'm going to rewrite this in blue so you guys don't get confused. I'm going to say x is equal to, could you repeat that again, ma'am?
H equals negative b over 2a.
Negative b over 2a. And that's referring to this. So a is equal to 3, b is equal to 5, and c is equal to 4. Because there's two ways that we can represent a quadratic equation. One is the vertex form. We call it the vertex form because you can figure out what the vertex is the way that it's written. The other is kind of the standard form, and that's this little deal here. F of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, right? That makes sense? Okay. So when I do this, I'm really solving for the h, right? Because in the previous problem, we said that the axis of symmetry goes through the h part, or the x-coordinate of the vertex. Does that make sense? What page was that on?
178.
178. So that's on page 178. You need to memorize that before the test. Okay? So now if I plug that in, based on my little blue equation, I'm going to say this is equal to negative 5 all over 2 times 3, or negative 5 over 6. Oh, you're kidding me. That's kind of challenging, isn't it? Oh well. How do I find, so for the vertex, I have an x comma y value, right? So let's unpack this a little bit. I got to find the vertex. I have x comma y, but really I could also think of that in terms of h comma k. In fact, I'll write that in a different. And so far what I figured out is that of the vertex, x is equal to negative 5, 6. How do I find that y? And I'll help you out. This could also be written as x comma f of x, right? Because f of x means the same as y. Well, there's a lot of different ways to represent that. So how do I figure out what the y value is? when x equals negative 5 over 6.
Put x into the.
I've got to plug it in. So at this point, I've got to plug this in, right? I got to plug this in to the original equation. So the original equation was f of x, but really I'm going to do f of 5, 6. What was that thing again? 3x, 5x, and 4, negative 4. So 3 negative 5 over 6 squared plus 5 times 5, negative 5, 6, minus 4, wasn't it? Is that right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a lot of work. So this becomes 3 times 25 over 36. This becomes negative 25 over 6. And it looks like I'm going to have some 6's on the denominator, maybe. So what's another way to write 20? I said the answer. Is 24 over 6 the same as? Yeah. As 4? Yeah. So I'm going to write this as 24 over 6. All right. Whew, we're getting there. Now, what happens with the 3 and the 36? Yeah, if I divide 3 by 3, I get 1. If I divide 36 by 3, I get 12. So the next line, I have 25 over 12 minus 49 over 6. So what do I do now? Well, this is a lot of work, isn't it? Huh?
Times 49 over 6 by 2, so you have
Yeah, multiply top and bottom by 2, get a common denominator. Somebody help me out with a calculator, please. 98, good. Now what's 25 minus 98?
Negative 73.
Boy, that seems like a goofy answer, doesn't it? That seems like a goofy answer. I think maybe Mr. Adams may have made a mistake. Let me double check my book.
I still need to sometimes say 24 over 6
Huh?
for the 24 over 6.
Oh, I combined them. What's 25 plus 24? Okay. Let's see what my answer in my book says. Now, wait, you guys don't have the answer in your books. Well, you do, but you don't, right? How could I double check that?
plug it back in. Graph it.
I could graph it, but I could do it on a calculator just to double check. So I keep telling you guys to use the calculator, but let's see what I get. We're pretty sure that it's negative 5/6, right? So, and we will graph it too to double check, but let me clear this and clear the screen. So I said 3 times the quantity, negative 5 divided by 6 squared, plus 5 times negative 5 divided by 6, okay, plus 4.
Minus 4.
Minus 4, darn it. So we'll do this, second entry, back up, change that to a minus sign, boom. Negative 6 point something. What did we say that was? Negative 73 over 12?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that seems pretty close, right? So let's do negative 73 divided by 12. It's a weird answer, but it seems to be correct. So, our math is right. Just hanging out?
Just hang it
All right, cool.
Watch the math.
Our math is right, but how can I make sure this is the vertex?
Graph it in.
We're going to graph it in. So first let's answer the question. We got a really crazy fraction. But we were asked to find the axis of symmetry, and we said the axis of symmetry occurs where?
When x will equal negative 5, 6.
Negative 5 over 6. And then that means that the vertex is what?
Negative 5, 6, comma, 7, negative 73.
Very good. Negative 5 over 6, comma, negative 73 over 6, right?
12.
Oh, wait, 12. That's right. Wait, hold on. Let's double check. Did I have negative?
Yeah.
Yeah, negative, negative. Okay, good. Now, here's how we're going to double check. 3x squared plus 5x minus 4. Graph it. Let's see what it does. Oh, I want graph.
Got an error.
Yeah. Well, that's probably your zoom. So let's change the zoom. Zoom fit usually works. Sometimes it doesn't. So we'll try zoom fit. Truth be told, it's like between 0 and negative something. So I mean, you could just go into the window, and we know that the x value is going to be around -5/6. So we could do like 0, or my minimum value could be like -2, and then my maximum value could be like 0. And then my y value we said was around -6.8. So we could do 0. Whoops. We want that to be 1. But here we could do 0 to -8. Right? Now, what I want to point out to you guys is that we're saying that our vertex, okay, is -5/6. All right? That lives between -2 and 0. Does that make sense to you guys? So I'm setting the window. I don't want to see the whole graph. I just want to find the vertex. And then -73/12 is about -6, and so 0 to -8, that would work. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So now when I do this, this should be pretty darn close to the vertex. So now if I hit graph, oh, I got an error because I changed the. You know why I changed the thing? I got an error because I think I shouldn't get an error. X-Men. Oh, you see where my error is? I wrote it backwards. It should be -8. What's greater? 0 or -8?
0.
0. We're not used to that. Even Mr. Adams makes mistakes. All right, there we go. Zooming in on it. All right. Now this point right here, the vertex should be -5/6, comma -73/12. So what we could do is we could hit second trace, all right, and we could go to minimum or maximum. If I hit 3, and a little bit to the left, see how it says left bound, right bound? I'm going to go a little bit to the right of where I think the center is, and I'm not quite sure. And I'm going to hit enter, and it says guess. Now, I think it's around here. I don't know. I could be wrong. Now, if I plug -5 divided by 6, what should I expect it to equal? That, the -0.E3. So let's just double check that. -5, that is what it is. Okay? So were we right? Yep. Seems like a long explanation, but you can work a little faster on your homework when you do it on your own. All right, so that's that one. Let's move on to problem number 35. Are there any questions before I move on, though? Did you guys understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah?